That's going on globally. Let's talk about the cues you should track as we get into a fresh trading session. We have our research team here with the trade setup. Mangalam, Vahishta and Ekta all join me now. Guys, a very good morning to you. And Ekta, let me come across to you first. The rally for our own markets continues.
Thanks for that. Well, yes, in fact, the markets did snap that three-day losing streak. The frontline indices rose around 1% each. FIIs net sold marginally around 200 odd crores, but net institutions were buyers because of the DIIs, which bought close to over 1700 odd crores in yesterday's trading session. There was buying which was visible across IT, metals, PSU banks, autos as well. So there was broad-based buying which took place. Overnight, US mixed close, but the Nasdaq has gained. So that's a positive. A lot of the beaten down shares such as Tesla has seen buying at lower levels. European markets, there's been optimism because it has closed at the highest levels that we've seen since May of 2022. Asia largely in the green. China is reopening its borders with Hong Kong, so there's largely a lot of optimism on account of that. SGX indicating a bit of a soft start. Crude, there is some amount of demand optimism that you can see, so $79 to $80 is currently where Brent crude is. TCS revenue beat, margins in line, so that will be reacting to its numbers. Lot of cues on the macro front. We have the Fed chair speech today, which is basically a panel discussion in Stockholm. CPI data from Tokyo, which is due today. India CPI as well as IIP on Thursday, along with the US CPI data, which will be closely watched, along with CPI from China as well. So a lot of inflation data, which we will be reckoning with this week. UK GDP numbers, and back home, lot of earnings. Infosys, HCL Tech, Cian, to name a few. Wipro as well as the likes of Just Dial. We'll close the week on Saturday with HDFC Bank and Avenue Supermart.
All right, Ekta, thanks a lot for taking us through all of those cues as we get into this fresh trading day. But let's now talk about the individual names that you should have on your radar. And, earnings season has officially started. So, Vahishta, TCS is going to be top of mind.
That's right. TCS is the big one in the IT pack. And like Ekta mentioned, the results were out. There was a beat on the top line. The management says that the overall demand environment, in fact, has not changed materially, but margins have seen a very slight bit of miss. Management has sounded cautious on the European market. The attrition rate is nearly same as the last quarter and is coming at 21.3%. But for the very first time in many quarters, the total headcount has reduced by 2,200 employees. The order book, though, is lower in this quarter at $7.8 billion. Moving on to Reliance, wherein Jio has launched 5G services in 10 more cities. This includes few in UP, in Andhra Pradesh, in Kerala and in Maharashtra. The next is Tata Motors, wherein for Tata Motors, the Q3 business update is out. The global wholesales are at 3.23 lakh units, which is up 13% on a year-on-year basis. For JLR, the wholesales for Q3 is up by 6% on a quarter-on-quarter basis, which comes to 79,000 units. Sona BLW Precision, which the company has acquired 54% stake in a Serbian company called Novelic for approximately 41 million euros. And the last stock is IRB Infra Developers, wherein the December toll collections are out. It is up 6% on a month-on-month basis and up 32% on a year-on-year basis, and has come in at 388 crores. Back to you.
All right, Vaishta, thanks a lot for bringing us all of that stock-specific news. That's a lot of stocks for us to, watch for in today's trading session. Finally, let's talk about all of the cues from the futures and options space. Mangalam, we were just saying yesterday was a good session. We saw broad-based buying, but how's it looking this morning?
Well, it's looking good even today because despite the SGX Nifty indicating downtick. Why is that? Because yesterday's rally was led by three factors. The first one was lower selling by FIIs in the cash markets, higher buying by DIIs. Secondly, there was a lot of short covering in index futures. The market was poised for that. And then there was also a lot of short covering in index calls. So let's take each of them, individually. Cash market flows. The FIIs sold just about 203 crores. The DIIs went ahead and bought 1,700 crores. So that brought in around 1,500 crores on a net basis from the institutions. In index futures, we saw that there was an open interest decline in both the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank, with the market moving higher, and that suggested that there could be some short covering. And the data also confirmed that. The FI has bought 2,200 crores in index futures, added about 7,000 long contracts and covered 16,000 short contracts. So as a result of which, in one trading session itself, the FII longs jumped from 41% all the way up to 49%. So now long and shorts are at an even keel. The other part is that there was a big call selling in the previous trading session, and those call writers have unwound their positions. So 45,000 calls were unwound, whereas 63,000 short puts were added on this on the short side. So that's telling you that there is support as well. Let's take a look at these levels. Then 18,000 calls shed almost 60 lakh shares in open interest as the market went past that 18,100 mark yesterday. 18,000 put writers were extremely active, wrote almost a crore shares in open interest for 40 rupees a pop. That's telling you that 17,950 to 18,000 is an important support zone. We saw some writing at 18,100 as well. The Nifty put call ratio from oversold levels of 0.75 has jumped to closer to 0.1. SGX Nifty is indicating a dip. Important to see whether this dip is bought into, because on the way up, then we have some resistances to run. The Nifty 20-day moving average at 18,200 and Nifty Bank 50-day moving average at 42,700. Finally, everyone's talking about TCS. The FNO positionings indicate that the TCS range for today could be 3,400 to 3,300 on the bottom end.
All right, that is everything in terms of the cues and stocks that you should watch for in today's trading session. Mangalam, Vahishta, Ekta, thank you very much for joining us and prepping us up for this trading session. With that, it's time for our first short break on the show. But when we come back, IT Bellwether